Hey guys, it's Matt from the Matt and Ed Show. Obviously, I just wanted to make a quick little, announcement of sorts before the video starts regarding why it might sound a little weird. So basically, about 2/3, I'd say, into the video, you'll kind of hear kind of an abrupt end, kind of a little bit of a conversation going on between Ed and I and someone else you can't hear in the background. That's because we record in our school, and we basically take out a room and we record in there. But around the time that we were about 2/3 into the episode, the security guard came in and essentially asked us to leave, even though we were allowed to be there, and because the school was closing and all that stuff. So that's why there's a weird little jump in the audio. Nothing too crazy happened. It all sorted itself out, and next week we're actually recording this upcoming week's episode from my home, so it's not gonna play that big of a factor into that. So that's why the audio is a little jumpy. At one point during the episode, we do address it, but that's why. Other than that, sit back, relax, enjoy what was my favorite episode to record. I had the most fun doing this out of every episode we've done so far, and thanks for... Hello. Welcome to the revamp of the Matt and Ed Show. My name is Matt.
My name is Ed.
And we have a pretty good show here tonight for you guys, and we're excited. We're excited to be doing this again. So it's our first time recording a full episode since this past summer. Ed, how was your summer?
Yeah, my summer was pretty awesome, actually. I was in Rhode Island. I got a job really briefly playing piano in a yacht club, which was fun because you just sort of sit in the back and you can play literally whatever you want. No one was listening to you, so I was just trying to play stuff that would make me laugh. So I'm in the back playing piano arrangements of Thunderstruck.
Nice.
We got all these golfers that they're eating stuff. It was fun. It was fun seeing what you could sneak by them. And then I went to jazz camp after that, which was just so cool. Litchfield Jazz Camp in Connecticut. Everyone there was awesome. Everything I did there was awesome. Shout out to Litchfield Jazz Camp. Then I was in Ireland. Ireland is a chill place. Full of chill people.
They're pretty down to earth there in Ireland. It's not what you'd expect. In the Irish people I know, they're a lot more down to earth than the stereotypes would perceive them to be.
Yeah. My favorite thing about I'm there every summer, and I'm always there during the football season for Gaelic, which is the weirdest sport ever. Because if you look at it, you've got a little bit of soccer, but they've also got football style goalposts that you can kick the ball, you can punt the ball through, and you have to whack it like a volleyball sometimes, and you carry it around, and it's a really strange sport, but everyone's really into it.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty big deal over there.
Really
I've never been to Ireland, but from the Irish people I know, it's almost bigger than I'm not sure if it's bigger than soccer or football, but it's pretty high up there.
Yeah, it's one. Really. It's one of the biggest sports in the country. It's that and hurling are the two ones everyone is really into. And the thing is, the teams are really local, and they don't pay their athletes that much.
Nice.
In fact, I'm not sure they pay their athletes at all. I think everyone just has day jobs, and then their bosses will let them go and play to the match because they're you need to win this for the county. So, I was in Mayo the whole summer, and one of the guys on the Mayo team is a friend of mine's science teacher.
Mayo,
it's a county.
Oh, okay.
In the Southwest. Sorry, it's not.
So it's Bray, Bray County.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
It's Dublin County or Galway or whatever.
Yeah.
But the best thing is you go there on a match day. And you go into town, and the streets are completely deserted. Because everyone's in the pubs. And then they're all gathered around the TV screens, and occasionally, someone will score. And the entire street will just erupt with noise for about 11 seconds, then stop. That's it. It's amazing. And I was talking to someone once who was working in a bookstore, who was it was on a main street, so there are a lot of pubs there. And he was saying... He was watching the match because obviously no one was going to be in there because they were all watching. So he was watching on his work computer, and he had some lag going. So his system was he'd go away and do other things, and whenever he saw heard anything from outside, he would just go over and see because he knew something was about to happen.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Everyone's super into it. The worst thing is County Mayo specifically are basically the Cubs of Gaelic football.
Oh. That's not good.
Yeah, we've been in the finals about 12 times since 1955, which was the last time we won. And we keep losing, and it's the worst. This year, okay, we made it to the final. Where against Dublin, we lost by 1 point. 1 point.
Is that how high scoring are the games? Because for example, hockey, 1 point might not necessarily be crazy, but say in baseball or basketball.
Yeah, 1 point is a different thing. But the thing is with the scoring in Gaelic is you got two ways to score, right? You got your big ass football goalpost, and you got your smaller little soccer goal.
Okay.
So if you get it into the soccer goal, that's 3 points, and if you kick it across the football goalposts, that's 1 point. So the score was 1 goal 16 points to 1 goal 17 points.
Oh, okay.
So it was tight.
That's pretty crazy. So what else did you do this summer after that? Did you just spend the rest of it in Ireland and?
Yeah, just spent the rest of the time in Ireland.
It's cool. You did a lot, man. I didn't know about this job working at a yacht club.
That was weird because I was there because my dad's a member of the club.
Yeah.
For some reason, though he doesn't have a yacht. So we were there and they got a grand piano and I'm like, yo, I can play that for you guys. And I'm like, that sounds pretty chill. Come do this.
That's awesome.
So just once a week while we were there, just showed up, played some chords.
Just played one chord repeatedly and hoped no one realized.
You could legit play anything. I played All Star.
Nice.
One point. It was just fun. No one knows what you're doing. So what did you do this summer?
This summer, I worked at my old summer camp this summer. Pretty much for the whole summer, the 2 or 3 days after we recorded the Batman episodes. By the way, before I forget, you can watch our Batman episodes, which will be released every single Friday for the next couple of weeks, which are actually some of the first episodes edited by Ed.
Yeah.
So he's doing a good job with those. You can check those out. They're pretty good. They were recorded all in one day. Yeah. The new episodes are coming out Tuesday. If you'd like to follow the show, you can do so. Twitter.com/Matt and Ed Show. SoundCloud.com for the audio-only version. SoundCloud.com/Matt-and-Ed-Show.
No hyphen at the end.
If you'd like to contact us, aside from our Twitter, you can also contact us in the YouTube comments, youtube.com/Matt and Ed Show, or just search Matt and Ed Show on YouTube. It should come up. And you can also send us an email, mattandedshow@gmail.com. Those are the easiest way to contact us. So anyways, back to my summer.
Now we got the plugs in.
Yeah, I worked at my old summer camp doing what we call evening program. So every night, all the campers have a different activity. It could be a pool party, a campfire, which is a very performance-based thing. It could be a social, which is kind of like a party type thing, and so my job, along with my coworkers, was to plan, run, clean up, do pretty much everything just related to that. So while certain people might have worked at an activity, before I used to work at pottery, believe it or not.
Pottery?
Yes, I'm actually very good potter.
That is good to know.
So I worked there for a little bit, and then at the night I'd just be kind of supervising kids. But with my job this year, pretty much the whole day was just waking up earlier than everyone, going to bed later than everyone most of the time. I tried to get to bed at a reasonable time, and figuring out how to plan all the special events, which was it's honestly one of my favorite things I've ever done. A lot of the stuff I do here in school revolves around event planning, as Ed knows, because he's a member of a couple clubs that I'm vice president of.
Shout out to Oxfam.
And so it was really what I wanted to do ever since I was a camper. I was now doing. It was super fun, and I made a lot of new friends, got to connect with a lot of old friends. It was really, really good summer. Shame it had to come to an end, but hey, it did, and we're talking about our summer in October now.
Yep.
So, just a little preview. What did we watch today, Ed?
Today, leading up to today, we watched the 1995 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
The best thing ever, I would say. So here's a little thing. We're gonna talk a little bit about Power Rangers. Before the movie, I grew up obsessed with Power Rangers. Like, obsessed. I started watching, my first ever Power Rangers Dino Thunder in 2004, and pretty much ever since, from then on to like my teenage years, Power Rangers was like one of my favorite things in the entire world. Like, I dressed up as them for Halloween. I wanted to be a Power Ranger when I was a little kid. Like, I'm like a really little kid. I wanted to grow up and be a Power Ranger. I actually know a guy who auditioned to be a Power Ranger, fun fact. Shout out to you, Jesse. If you weren't in New Zealand, I'd ask for you to have been on this episode, but you live in New Zealand.
New Zealand is far.
You're not. But Power Rangers was one of my all-time favorite things. I'd say, like, it's definitely one of the things I'm most nostalgic about. You know how you have those certain shows, or, like, for me, a lot of cartoons get me very nostalgic, but I'd say nothing gets me more nostalgic than Power Rangers. Yeah. It was, like, my favorite thing when I was a kid. I even currently own a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers t-shirt that I was going to wear today, but I forgot. And I'll put a little picture of it in the video if you guys want to see. It was at Walmart. If you want to buy shirts that are cheap and kind of funny, go to Walmart. But, you know.
Just go to Walmart in general.
It's a very useful store. But yeah, Ed, what were your experiences with the Power Rangers?
So I was going in blind, pretty much, because, like, for me, Power Rangers were the kind of thing you'd sort of see and you'd be aware of peripherally. Like, I knew there were Power Rangers, and I knew they had the color coding things, and I knew what they looked like. And I even had a couple issues of Power Rangers related comics growing up.
Yeah.
As a child, and they were really bad. So I was like, why spend time on this? But after having watched this movie, I've sort of reconsidered that.
Yeah, because Power Rangers are the best. For me, like, I still know the lyrics to, I'm not going to say all, because I don't think that's true, but most of the Power Rangers series. So there's, like, I've told you and since showed you a couple of the openings. Each opening
amazing.
Has a different theme, and the majority of them are awesome. But for the record, coming as a huge Power Rangers fan, I'd say my favorite series, a lot of people would say Mighty Morphin. You know, I was born a couple years after Mighty Morphin stopped airing, so I would say my favorites, Dino Thunder is a big favorite of mine. That was my first one, but I actually Googled best Power Rangers series just to see if what I was saying was accurate to the majority of the fan base. But mine, like, all-time favorite is probably Time Force.
Time Force.
Which Ed has not seen a single episode of.
But I saw the intro.
It's super awesome, with Rancic, one of my all-time favorite Power Rangers villains, aside from, of course, Lord Zed.
Aside from, of course, Lord Zed, who I encountered in this movie, and I love him.
Lord Zed's the best. Rita Repulsa's the best. Goldar, my main man Goldar, and of course the movie exclusive Ivan Ooze.
Ivan Ooze. We're gonna talk a lot about Ivan Ooze.
Who we're gonna get to in a little bit.
So I'm always kind of fuzzy on the chronology. You want to, like, take us through a brief history of Power Ranging, real quick?
A brief history of Power Ranging? Do you mean every series in order? Or just, like, a little brief summary of what Power Rangers is? Because I could
go
prefer,
with either. I mean, we'll get into the actual concept of Power Rangers.
So, Power Rangers was based off the footage from the Japanese Super Sentai series. So, essentially, instead of filming their own, like, shows, they take footage from the Japanese series Super Sentai, which is and film the rest of the show using American actors. So they take that footage and splice it over and kind of create their own stories. But that's why, for example, certain certain dubbing in a lot of the live action characters. Not the Rangers, of course. Might be a little odd, but yeah. So every Power Ranger's in order. You start off. Some fun facts about the Rangers, actually. The only Rangers to appear in every single series are the Red and Blue Rangers.
Oh, really?
With the only one that yellow is missing being Power Rangers Dino Charge, not to be mistaken with Dino Thunder.
Naturally.
The teams usually consist of 3 to 5 members, depending on the season, and more Rangers are pretty much almost always introduced afterwards.
Right.
The show debuted in the early 90s and became a huge cultural success in America, spawning many series that still extend to this day, with the most recent being Power Rangers Ninja Steel.
Ninja Steel. Just the names alone.
So, you start off with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is the longest series at 3 seasons. The rest of them, or a majority of them, only came to 1, maybe 2 series. The next one was Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, which is kind of like a spin-off. It's not like necessarily the second one. It's considered kind of 3.5, if that makes sense. So if Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, Alien Rangers is kind of 3.5.
Got it.
Then you head into Power Rangers Zeo, Power Rangers Turbo, Power Rangers in Space, which is pretty much the critically acclaimed peak of the show. That's when the popularity... And the show was actually initially slated to end. That was supposed to be the last series, and if you've seen the ending of that, you'll understand why. But they decided that it was enough of a success to continue on, so they brought it back with Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, which was the first one to not contain the remnants of other Rangers. So in the first series, you had the original 5 and Tommy, and then you kind of switched some people out every now and again, with the exception of the Alien Rangers, which again is kind of different. Then after that, you went to Lightspeed Rescue, which was the theme of that was kind of they worked day jobs.
Huh.
So like the Red Ranger was, I believe, a firefighter. The Blue Ranger worked at they were all like. The Green Ranger was like an EMT or something.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Stuff like that. It was I believe the first series where the Rangers' identities were kind of known, and it was kind of like a side job.
Right.
Kind of. Then we go into
Power Ranging as well as.
So then we go into Time Force, which, like I said earlier, is my favorite, which is essentially about one person goes. The original Red Ranger in the show dies, and then they go back in time to get the ancestor of the Red Ranger, and he becomes the Red Ranger.
Right.
So they're like a special force from the future coming back in time, and the Red Ranger, whose name is Wes.
Got it.
Then we're going to Wild Force. The theme of that was kind of animals and kind of spiritualness. It was, that's famous for having the Red Ranger of that show murdering his roommate. He is the one who murdered his roommate and stabbed him with a sword.
The only way you can commit a murder after having been a Power Ranger.
Then we had Power Rangers Ninja Storm. The theme of that is obviously ninjas. And samurai, very Japanese culture, although the Rangers themselves weren't Japanese except for the Green Ranger. Then we go into Power Rangers Dino Thunder, which is kind of the throwback to the original series in the sense that it included Tommy actually came back and became a Ranger.
Right.
This was... he became the Black Ranger, now as an adult, a paleontologist. Who would have figured?
Who would have figured?
And it was kind of considered kind of the throwback series to the original, using, dinosaurs again. And then we had Power Rangers SPD, which was Space Patrol Delta. They were basically intergalactic cops.
Space Cop Power Rangers?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That makes me
And
happy.
had the first... that's not true. I was going to say something that... Actually, it is true. I believe the first Black Red Ranger.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I might not be 100% sure at that. Then we go into Mystic Force, and that was kind of witches and wizardry. And kind of magic was the theme of that. You got Rangers with capes.
Rangers with capes.
That was all right.
I get into that.
Then we had Operation Overdrive, which was kind of a little bit, in my opinion, of a downturn of the... That's when it kind of... This is around when I kind of stopped... I stopped I didn't really love this season. I watched the next one, and then I kind of stopped at the one after that.
Right.
So Operation Overdrive, there were two brothers that one was like all heat and evil in that sense, and the other one was like themed with ice. It wasn't my favorite. That's the one I'm kind of the most shaky on in terms of the ones I watched. Then we go into Jungle Fury, which is again kind of jungle animals and ninjas, and kind of a combination of those two. It was pretty cool. They worked at a pizza place. Then RPM was when I stopped watching, but I know RPM is about the kind of take place in a post-apocalyptic world. And it was about machines taking over. It was a pretty unique concept, and it was apparently a decent little Power Ranger season, but I didn't watch it, so I can't give my feedback on it. Then you go into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the reversion, which isn't like an official season. It's kind of like a reboot. Then you go into when Nickelodeon purchased the license, and you got Power Rangers Samurai, Super Samurai, Megaforce, Super Megaforce, Dino Charge, Dino Supercharge, and currently in Power Rangers Ninja Steel. So that's when they started doing the same Rangers for 2 seasons.
Right.
But, you know...
So they just sort of throw themselves at pretty much every premise.
Yeah, they've approached a lot. I mean, it's been over 20 years at this point. And they are showing no signs of slowing down, still making new episodes, which, when you think of it, is pretty crazy.
Respect, yeah.
Of course, the Power Rangers are owned by Saban, which that's kind of their main thing, and I guess a very big part of many, many people's childhoods, now spanning generations. I think it's getting to the point where, like, people who grew up watching the show, now their kids can watch the show.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
We're in that zone.
So, for those of you who don't know what Power Rangers is, it kind of centers around a group of teenagers. Well, the original series, a little history of the original series for you.
Let's go.
Power Rangers is about a group of teenagers with attitude that were dispatched to help save the world after Rita Repulsa and friends were released from their kind of dumpster on the moon.
Okay.
After 10,000 years, with
so far, so good.
Infamous intro of, "After 10,000 years, I'm free, and I have come to conquer Earth." And then Zordon, who is kind of a deity of sorts, talking head.
Zordon seems like a bro.
Zordon recruits 5 teenagers with attitude, and then they become...
Attitude. The attitude is like the element he looks for?
Yeah, that's in the intro.
You'd think he'd want, like, people who don't question his orders.
No, he has attitude. Huh. So he recruits the 5 Rangers. Initially, Jason, being the Red Ranger. He was later replaced by Rocky. Then you have Trini, the Yellow Ranger. Billy, the Blue Ranger. Zach, the Black Ranger. Kimberly, my personal and many other favorite first crush, as the Pink Ranger. And who am I missing? Jason, Trini, Zach, Kimberly, and Billy. No one. So those are the original 5. They were later joined up by Tommy, who initially became Rita Repulsa's Evil Ranger and became the only person to single-handedly defeat the team. He also had his own Zord, called the Dragon Zord, which was awesome.
Real quick, what is a Zord?
A Zord is a giant robot that the Power Rangers have. Usually they're some type of animals, but they have been cars, starting with Power Rangers Turbo. The initial, and they're kind of reflective of their characters' personalities and what they have. So the original would be Jason had the Tyrannosaurus, Kimberly had the Pterodactyl, Billy had the Triceratops, Zach had the Mastodon, and Trini had the saber-toothed tiger. They combined to make a Megazord, which is essentially a giant robot. Initially, in the episodes, they defeat the monsters like by hand, and then somehow they grow and become giant, and that's when they summon the Zords and then the Megazord, and they kick ass.
The system works.
Yeah.
The Megazord is amazing.
Yeah. So I think it's about time we start heading into the movie. This movie takes place, it's supposed to be kind of in between seasons 2 and 3. At this point, Jason, Trini, and Zach have all left the Power Rangers, and they were replaced by...
Jason replaced by Rocky.
Yes.
Trini's replaced by Aisha, right?
Yeah, Aisha.
And then Zach is a Black Ranger?
Yes.
So he is replaced by Adam, who is grossly incompetent.
See, you say this, but Adam's actually, like, known as one of the best Rangers ever. Fun fact. He's just kind of useless in the movie.
In this movie,
they really only focus on Tommy and Kimberly.
Pretty much.
Who, they were... Initially, Jason was the leader of the team. However, when Tommy kind of became good after being the evil Green Ranger and became the good Green Ranger, he kind of took over the role as leader of the team, and as he morphed into the White Ranger, he pretty much entirely took over the role. And he would later become the Red Ranger in Power Rangers Zeo and Turbo.
That's pretty cool.
Well, initially Turbo, and then he got replaced.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Actually, no, he wasn't. To an earlier point, the SPD was not the first Black Ranger. Turbo had the first Black Red Ranger.
Cool.
I made a mistake, and I have now fixed it. So if you want to come at me, you have the right to. So,
okay.
Let's talk about this movie. It was released June 30th, 1995. What do you think the budget of this movie was, Ed?
Ooh, okay. We're definitely talking millions, but I don't know how many. Maybe like 6 million?
15 million.
My bad.
So they had a decent little budget there. How much did they gross?
Ooh. I'm going to say like 20 million.
66.4 million.
Jesus Christ.
They made a lot of money. The reception of this movie is a 41% of Rotten Tomatoes. Kind of received a little mixed reviews.
Not so bad.
But the Los Angeles Times said it was, quote, a barrage of spectacular special effects, a slew of fantastic monsters, a ferociously funny villain, and most importantly, a refreshing lack of pretentiousness.
That is true.
The film is pretty short, at about 90 minutes long.
Which I appreciated.
Yes, I believe the shortest film we've watched so far.
I think it might be.
Yeah. So, anyways, the movie, the plot of the movie is generally the Rangers are going to kind of get their powers.
Yeah.
You want to go into a little more detail about the plot?
Let's talk about what actually happened in this movie. One thing that I really like about this movie is it just sort of drops us into the middle of things. Like, a lot of the time, a major complaint you get with a lot of movies based on other properties, like comic book movies based on TV shows, is they have to, like, set everything up for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was this thing with Batman vs. Superman where they open with Bruce Wayne's parents getting shot. Anyone who's going to watch Batman vs. Superman knows that Batman's parents are dead. Like, that's not something we needed to see again.
Yeah.
So one reason this movie was kind of a breath of fresh air is these people are already Power Rangers. They're already Power Ranging. They already know who Zordon is.
You know what you're getting into with this movie,
yeah.
Which is, kind of a breath of fresh air, I guess. And obviously it's a kids movie. It's kind of geared towards younger boys.
Yeah.
A lot of Power Rangers is obviously geared toward the younger males with their Megazords obviously being a huge opportunity to sell toys. This is essentially a giant, there's a lot of toys. It's one of these franchises where you can, there's a lot of merch you can get off of them. Yeah, like Pokemon. So
I kind of wish I had seen this movie when I was like 7.
I first saw this movie, I want to say I was like 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I swear this movie would have changed my life.
This movie was this hit so much nostalgia for me, and I really enjoyed this movie, knowing full well the gaps in logic, the special effects not really holding up to our current standard. Obviously,
they were okay actually.
I thought that the end CGI,
except for
and
the
green screen, was pretty awful.
The actual Megazord fight was a little bit.
Yeah, the Megazords. I honestly.
The choreography was pretty dope.
Oh yeah, the fight choreography. Pretty much all the Rangers actually. A majority of them are trained martial artists.
That makes sense.
So while stunt doubles likely did a lot of the work for the Rangers, and in the original series it was obviously the Japanese footage.
Yeah.
Power Rangers was kind of known for having mixing a Western style of storytelling with an Eastern style of action.
Right.
So you had, very martial arts heavy combat versus, just a bunch of punching and kicking,
Yeah.
This movie did include my favorite Power Rangers move, which is the jump and constantly kick while sliding in midair.
Yes.
which Tommy does.
Tommy does. It's the most egregious abuse of gravity in this, or maybe any movie.
It's a common Power Rangers move, and it's always awesome. And I flipped out when I was watching this.
I don't know. Can I just get some questions out of the way about like the concept?
Yeah,
of
go
Power
ahead.
Ranging
This is the time.
Because like we open with this sort of Star Wars opening crawl thing where they just a bunch of text goes up the screen and tells us everything that's going on. And firstly, I want to know why teenagers. Like, why has Zordon picked arbitrarily Earth teenagers in his fight against evil?
Do you want the like in story reason or like the reason?
Is there an in story reason?
Not really. That's just who he wants because they have attitude.
Okay.
And he can train them to become awesome Power Rangers.
That, I guess.
And the other reason being because teenagers are cool.
Teenagers are cool.
Especially to younger children.
Facts.
So.
And then, also, we need to talk about Angel Grove. The place.
Yes.
There are certain things that confuse me about Angel Grove.
It's supposed to be in California.
It's supposed to be in California. How big is it supposed to be?
It's a small city, I think.
Because we get some small town stuff going on, especially
there's a lot
at the beginning.
Of, yeah.
But there's that whole fight in what's basically Metropolis at the end.
Yeah, it's kind of like a small city, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know, it's not supposed to be anywhere in particular. I think the architecture, a lot of the fight scenes were probably Tokyo type.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's supposed to be in California. All
right.
And it's supposed to be like kind of a small, like think like Santa Cruz probably, or like San Diego. Sense. Like one of the smaller towns, not like LA. And the Power Rangers are obviously like their local superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do they stay in Angel Grove? Like, isn't there other stuff they could be doing with the giant robots and stuff to be maybe...
Well, first off, they're high schoolers in Angel Grove. So
Touché.
They go to school and live there, their normal lives. In addition, that just seems to be where all the monsters are popping up. I don't know why specifically they chose Angel Grove, but Rita Repulsa has a way with things.
That is true. So, Rita Repulsa is amazing, by the way.
She is. She's awesome.
She only appeared in like 2 scenes, but she was just...
She's the main villain of the first season of the show. Then Lord Zed comes in, and then in the 3rd season, it's Lord Zed and Rita who get married.
That's excellent.
Yes. Lord Zed and Rita are the best, as is their sidekick, Goldar.
Goldar is the thing with the wings?
Yes.
I love Goldar.
The blue face and the wings.
Wait, but Goldar is also joined by another hench person who's a pig with a monocle.
He's not in the... I don't remember him being in the series. They had other henchmen, but it was not the pig guy with the monocle.
Okay. So they're just like...
So I'm not... I might be wrong, because I have not watched Season 3 of Power Rangers in a very, very, very long time, but I do not remember him.
Huh.
They had other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing about Rita Repulsa was she was faced with, at one point, a giant egg in a claw. She looks at it and has the appropriate response, which is to suggest that Lord Zed hard-boiled the thing.
Yes.
That is what you should do when you're faced with a giant egg.
So, the plot of this movie...
back to the plot.
...is some dumb construction workers open up a manhole. Side point, why are manhole covers round?
Because they're the least likely to fall in, right?
They're the only shape you can't fall into.
They're the only shape you can't fall into.
Yeah, any other you could find a way to... Yeah.
That's mathematical.
Yes. But anyways, they find this egg thing, which contains Ivan Ooze.
Ivan Ooze!
Who is some being of great evil.
Some gooey being of great evil. And that was buried there by past Power Rangers, right?
What are Power Rangers, but they're not Power Rangers, if that makes sense.
Like proto Power Rangers.
So yeah, Zordon and his
bros,
yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes and murders Zordon, kinda.
Yeah, like...
Not really, but he kinda
murders... kind of a hyperbaric time chamber thing going on.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if he breaches the chamber, he starts aging.
Yeah, this movie, it's interesting as, that's the only time that you'd ever see Zordon in that humanoid kind of form he has going on.
He's like a
never
person.
Before until...
Older person.
Never in the series would he appear like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
In the TV show. It would always be as the floating head.
As the floating head.
That's his iconic... Which the role was then played by Bryan Cranston in the new Power Rangers movie that came out this past year. Yeah. And Ivan Ooze murders Zordon, and the Power Rangers then lose their powers.
This is sort of... I thought that was weird, because that's usually sort of a move you get in the third movie of a series.
Well, think about it this way. This is the third... This is supposed to... They have had 2 seasons at this point. And Zordon himself, that chamber contains essentially all the power.
Right.
So once that chamber is destroyed, the Rangers then lose their powers. So, for example, Alpha 5 can't really do a ton.
Let's talk about Alpha 5 really quick.
Yeah.
I hate Alpha 5.
I love Alpha 5. Ay. He is the best.
I have a note from about halfway through. This is... Wait, where is it? Alright. Right? Yeah, about 2/3 of the way through the movie, I have a note. If that robot says, ay, one more fucking time, I swear. I think...
That was her catchphrase. I don't know if you took a gander.
I assume.
Ay.
But I hate it.
Alpha 5. Love Alpha 5.
I hate Alpha 5. Okay, back to Zordon.
Yeah. So Zordon gets murdered. Power Rangers are sent to then receive the ancient powers of not Ninjago, but that's what I thought. Lego Ninjago.
I had that thought.
Let's see. What is it called?
It's like Phaedos. The planet Phaedos.
They're sent to the planet Phaedos to get
the power of something.
They get ninja powers.
Yeah, but wait, let's talk about the way those powers are described to them by Alpha 5 real quick.
Hello.
Hello.
Guys, you know what time it is, right?
It's 3:51.
Yeah.
You got no teacher yet.
You're not wrong.
And we're back. We got
back in business.
We got yelled at.
Briefly derailed.
So yeah, they're sent to get the ninja powers. And how are they described to by Alpha 5?
All right, there's this weird when Zordon's like dying over there, and like there is a great power that could save Zordon. It's on the planet. I can teleport you there, but I can't teleport you back. He doesn't describe this power at all. He doesn't say like it will empower you. It's a giant power source. Like, he just describes it as a power, and they immediately know what he's talking about. That's weird to me. It's also weird that they assume they'll be able to teleport back with that power and have enough left over.
They're the Power Rangers.
To save Zordon.
That's kind of what they do.
Okay.
No.
Also, they have flying rainbow teleportation, and I love it.
Oh, they've always had that. That's like that's how they get it. That's how they get to the secret hideout. That's kind of not so secret because it's on a bunch of rocks. So that's the central plot of the movie. Let's talk a little bit about Ivan Ooze. Ivan Ooze is an interesting character. He's a lot different than I remember him being.
He's a
pretty funny little guy.
I kind of love him. He opens when he's been released from the egg that Rita Repulsa wanted to hardboil by yelling for a while.
A lot of yelling
And just screaming to the heavens, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Ooze is back!"
His most important things that he missed in life include the Black Plague, the Spanish Inquisition, and the Brady Bunch reunion.
I love him so much.
He's a central conceit of evil, and his plan involves taking control of parents using his Ivan Ooze.
It's literally called Ivan's Ooze. He sells it in jars.
And make them construct a thing.
Well, make them uncover a thing he constructed a while ago.
Yeah.
The Ectomorphicon Titans.
Which are just essentially giant robot ants.
Large robots with which he somehow thinks he can destroy the world.
So that's, I guess, the central plot of the movie.
The quick detail. Ivan's plan for getting the Ooze to the parents involves dressing up as a wizard, talking in rhymes, and basically hawking it to small children.
And it works.
It's so good.
Except for Fred. Who is a small child who sees through his bullshit, and he's an interesting character. Never appeared again in the show, to my knowledge. Kid. Never became a Power Ranger like they said he would. Although they did have in Power Rangers Turbo a young child be a Power Ranger. He became the Blue Ranger, and everyone hated it. But it was their attempt to market to younger kids. In fact,
I guess I can't fault that. They sort of implied he'd become Power Ranger at the end.
And
his hat was one of the most 90s thing about this. Yeah. He wore a backwards baseball cap all the time, and I kind of hated it.
So let's talk about the Rangers. We got Rocky, the Red Ranger. his character is that he's a cool guy, kind of in the movie. He doesn't really have.
We don't see a
he's
lot
not
of
very important.
no, he's really not.
Then we got Billy, the Blue Ranger, whose character is he is a nerd and kind of the tech master of the team. He kind of fits into that number 2 from Codename Kids Next Door role.
Yeah, I didn't really get that vibe from him though.
That's his vibe in the show, and in Power Rangers Zeo, he doesn't become a ranger, but he's still in the show to do tech stuff. He's kind of like a nerd.
Nerd. It's always
Adam
good to have a nerd.
has characters. Again, he's a nice guy.
Adam is useless.
Adam is...
No, they go out of their way to make Adam appear useless.
Well, he's a frog, and the frog kind of sucks, but...
Eventually he gains the powers of the frog, but like even in the first scene, when they're jumping out of a plane set to the Red Hot Chili Peppers cover of Stevie Wonder's Higher Ground, and it's amazing. They make a specific point of like they're all supposed to land on the same target, and they all do land on that target, but Adam almost misses.
But he's the first one there.
He's the first one there, but he almost misses. He's the only one who's anything other than perfect. And I'm like, why do you hate Adam so much?
Adam's... Okay, then we got Aisha, whose gimmick is that she's the other girl on the team.
Somebody had to be.
Then we have the actual important Rangers. We have Kimberly, who is so beautiful in this movie. She's the best.
I mean...
the best. And basically, a lot of the movie is her spent being the only one really sad about Zordon.
Which is weird.
She's like unfathomably sad for Zordon.
Which makes sense, and honestly, very much respect to Kimberly for actually caring about the floating head. Yeah. That has given them this great power.
And then you got Tommy, who's the leader of the team, cool guy, has beautiful long hair. And yeah.
I did not like his hair.
You're telling me you didn't like his hair?
The two things we got to disagree on in this movie so far are Alpha 5 and Tommy's hair.
And you think Aisha's more attractive than Kimberly.
I do think Aisha's more attractive than
false. Kimberly. That is so false.
Google image it.
I Google image. I Google image. I can.
We watched the movie. We don't need.
We watched the movie. I looked at them today. Like what they look like today. Yeah. So this movie is actually really fun.
It's really
you can't
fun.
Take it too seriously. You can't really get super emotionally invested. It follows kind of the format of an elongated Power Rangers episode. The villains beat them up. They lose something. They have to gain something. Megazord battle, win, happiness. That's all you need. You also got Bulk and Skull making their movie debuts.
Who are Bulk and Skull?
Bulk and Skull are the comedic relief characters. They're not Rangers. They just kind of hang out with them. They're kind of like dumb idiots. Bulk is the big one, and Skull's the small one. I think, pretty sure.
Bulk is the big one. But I was so confused by Bulk and Skull because they just sort of appear.
They play kind of like they kind of occupy a lot of side plots in the episodes. Just comedic side plots.
Right.
A lot of the episodes would be centered around one Ranger and one Ranger's problem, and they'd be the one to solve the thing. But the side plots were largely occupied by characters like Bulk and Skull.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I would watch this movie a million times because I love this movie. And I think it's great.
Honestly, I would watch this movie again right now if you asked me to. It's very rewatchable.
It's a short movie. Ivan Ooze is great as a villain.
I love Ivan Ooze.
The movie knows what it is, and I think that's the best thing about this movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It has all the classic trademarks of the Rangers, including their crazy poses as they do things.
The poses are great.
Their martial arts poses. Tommy's iconic grunt of "Hyah!" which brought me back. This is a huge nostalgia ship for me, and definitely a good introduction for anyone into the series, although I would recommend starting with Mighty Morphin. Obviously, a lot of the series are kind of not super related. They're all in the same universe, but if you want to watch the original, I would recommend watching the series so you get a better perspective of the characters. Any final words about the movie before I talk to you about where the Power Rangers are now?
I want to share with you 3 specific moments that changed my life in this movie.
Okay.
There are a lot of one-liners. There are a lot of one-liners during the action. And a lot of them are bad. Sometimes it'll just be like a "not today" as you kick somebody. But there's one specific moment when Tommy is riding on top of a zombified skeleton Triceratops. He removes a bone from its skeleton, causes it to fall apart, and says, "I've got a bone to pick with you."
Yes.
It is such a good line. It's like a gem of a line. Adam also at one point asks a villain, "What is this? Pick on a frog day?"
So what's your problem with Adam now? You you don't like him, and now all of a sudden he's your most important favorite person in the movie.
He asked if it was pick on a frog day, Matt. That earns him something.
Okay.
Little does he know every day is pick on a frog day.
Yeah, but he gets a kiss from a character whose name kind of sounds like what does it sound like? Bialy?
Dulcea.
Dulce de leche. That's
it
what
sounds like Dulce de leche.
That's what I thought of. And your third note.
My third note is the line, "You think she's cute too, huh?"
Yeah.
Delivered by my legendary winged griffin dude, Goldar,
to Ivan Ooze in description of Kimberly. So, where are the Power Rangers now at? Glad you asked. Rocky. Steve Carderas holds multiple martial arts awards and wins in contests, including 2 silver medals at Copa Pacifica from 2009 and 2011. He is a gold medal winner of the 2009 American National Championship, a gold medal in the 2010 Jiu-Jitsu Pro Gear Open, and silver medal in the 2010 No-Gi World Championship. And he's set to star in a movie coming out later this year called The Order, which features a lot of the original Power Rangers.
That's badass.
You'll hear that recurring a lot. Karan Ashley, also known as Aisha, was largely out of the spotlight with roles, but she had roles in Boston Calming and an upcoming role in The Order. She was also part of a small, shortly lived all-girl band named Crush, but they spelled it with a K. And they
spelled it with a K.
Yeah, and that was before she became a Power Ranger. Johnny Young Bausch, also known as Adam, was on Power Rangers following Zack, the original Black Ranger's departure. He continued on Power Rangers Zeo and Turbo, and following his career in Power Rangers, he mostly took up voice acting and singing and provided many voices for English dubs of animes, including roles in Naruto and Sailor Moon.
That's cool.
He also reprised the role of Adam in an episode of Power Rangers Operation Overdrive entitled Once a Ranger, in which he came back with a couple other Rangers from past series and kicked some ass, him being the only one from Mighty Morphin to appear in that episode. Jason David Frank, also known as Tommy, is arguably the most famous person to play a Power Ranger and is the longest serving Power Ranger. Tommy has made multiple appearances in Power Rangers series, and most notably taking the role of the Black Ranger in Power Rangers Dino Thunder. He was also the Red Ranger in Power Rangers Zeo and Turbo, and he also was the original Green Ranger and White Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. He has since moved on to a career in mixed martial arts with an impressive 4-0 amateur record and a 1-0 professional record. And he made waves a couple years ago for calling out WWE wrestler, then fighter turned CM Punk, and not getting a fight with him. He also had a little cameo in the new Power Rangers movie alongside Amy Jo Johnson, who plays Kimberly, in which they played shocked people looking into the crowd.
Excellent.
Amy Jo Johnson, everybody's first crush, had a modicum of success releasing multiple studio albums and winning multiple film festival awards for her films Bent and Lines, in which she directed and starred in.
Badass.
She also has a cameo with Jason David Frank in the new Power Rangers movie.
Yes.
David Yost Billy played the original Blue Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Ranger and became kind of a tech advisor in Power Rangers Zeo. He left the show pretty abruptly and later revealed that he felt harassed for being gay by members of the crew. He found some success, however, as a producer, producing shows like You Are What You Eat and The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
That's a way to go.
He is also set to appear in The Order.
The Order. We gotta watch The Order when it comes out.
Yes. And now to the Rangers that left the show from the original series. Walter Emmanuel Jones played Zack, the original Black Ranger, and left alongside Trui Trang and Austin St. John over contract disputes. He has since done a ton of voice work, including voicing some monsters in future Power Rangers series, Lost Galaxy and Wild Force. His other credits include Open Season 2, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and NYPD Blue, among others. He is also set to star in The Order. Thui Chang? T-H-U-Y?
No idea.
I don't know. Was the original Yellow Ranger. She made her big break on Power Rangers and stated that despite being Asian and a huge factor in her casting being a need for diversity on the show, that her casting as the Yellow Ranger was merely a coincidence. Also, Zack is black and played the Black Ranger. So a lot of people thought Power Ranger was kind of racist, but according to the original Yellow Ranger, that wasn't the case. She left the show alongside Austin St. John and Walter Emmanuel Jones due to contract disputes and was replaced by Aisha. She even had a big role in Crow City of Angels, playing Kylie, but she tragically died in a car crash in 2001 at the age of 27. The episode Circuit Unsure of Power Rangers Time Force was dedicated to Trang's memory. And finally, Austin St. John played Jason, the original Red Ranger, who is now a paramedic, and he left the show due to contract issues over the monies. But he returned in Power Rangers Zeo to play the Gold Ranger, and has made occasional one-off appearances as Jason, most notably in the episode Forever Red, in which all the Red Rangers from all the seasons united to take on Lord Zed's Zord's Serpentera as controlled by the big bad Beetleborgs. It's awesome.
That sounds awesome.
He is also set to star in The Order. So that's where your Power Rangers are today.
Huh.
Any final thoughts on Power Rangers, the movie, or anything else you'd like to talk about?
If you've got an hour and a half and nothing to do, watching Power Rangers will make you happy.
It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. Ed enjoyed it. My nostalgia bone is going. I'm going to watch some Power Rangers. Go Power Rangers.
I don't know if it was as good as Everybody's.
It was better than Everybody's. Anyways, if you'd like to follow the show, you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/MattandEdShow. Feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube. Just search Matt and Ed Show on YouTube. If you'd like to follow the audio-only version of the SoundCloud of the podcast on SoundCloud, you can do so at soundcloud.com/Matt-and-Ed-Show.
No hyphen at the end.
And if you'd like to email us, you can feel free at mattandedshow@gmail.com. Any final remarks for the audience?
I am good. I hope you guys having a good Tuesday.
Yeah. If you'd like to watch more episodes, feel free to subscribe. Every Tuesday we're going to be releasing a new episode, and every Friday we're going to be releasing one of our archived Batman story arc episodes. So keep tuned for that. We'd like to thank you guys so much for allowing us to do this show again, and we're really excited to kick off the next upcoming year with a bunch of cool stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. We hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Cheers.